Okay, well, the federal government and the provincial government will get a chance to show that leadership because the City of Ottawa has made a big request today from both levels of government. Here's what they specifically asked for. 1,000 regular officers, 600 public order officers, 100 investigative officers, and 100 civilian staff. All of that backstopped by cyber investigative capacity and digital, social media, and financial forensics capacity. So 1,800 people in total. Diane Deans is an Ottawa City Councillor and the chair of the Ottawa Police Services Board. She joins me now from Ottawa. Councillor, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, David.
I noticed your signature was on the letter from Mayor Watson today making this request for 1,800 additional officers from the superior levels of government. Why did it take 11 days to get to the point of making this request?
Well, you know, when this all started, I don't think any of us really anticipated where it was going to go. And, you know, there'll be time for a postmortem later and we can determine if we should have known. But I know as that convoy rolled across the country, there was no sense that these people were coming to occupy the nation's capital and had no intention to leave. And I know that that first weekend there were negotiations and there was an expectation that they would be heading out on Sunday night. Well, we know how that turned out. It didn't happen, and they settled in and got very comfortable. They have really terrorized our residents. They have acted so abysmally. I think there's been plenty of accounts of how our residents have been subject to racism and sexism and misogyny and just the most boorish and ugly, hateful behavior that one could ever expect. And, you know, it has increased. But David, what has become really clear to me through all of this is it's not a target on the City of Ottawa. It's much bigger than that. It's really an insurrection. It's an attack on our democracy. It's an attack on our federal government. It has a lot of international elements to it. The money is flowing from the U.S.
Right.
This is right out of the Trump playbook. And I don't think anyone really imagined that would what it was when it started.
Well, you're saying that now, and I've heard Chief Slowly say that same thing. But if anybody monitored the social media of the organizers, looked at their web pages, listened to the interviews, or watched any of the numerous videos they posted as they rolled towards the nation's capital, it was abundantly clear they plan to dig in for the long term. And I know you say you have to wait for a post-mortem, but I just don't understand how the city and the police force did not know when practically everyone who was paying attention to this knew they planned to stay here for the long term.
Yeah, and I think that's a question that is much better put to Chief Slowly than me. I mean, I provide oversight of the police board, which makes sure they get the resources they need, but I don't get the intelligence briefings or any of that that perhaps the police service or CSIS or anyone else was getting. So, I mean, that's probably a question better put to others than to me.
Well, back to my original question, you're making this request for the 1,800 reinforcements on day 11, and I know you say there was a belief they'd be gone by Sunday night, but that's 2 Sundays ago. Right? That's not last night. So day 4, 5, 6, 7, why wasn't the request made for this sort of help on those days? Because it was very clear by mid last week that the Ottawa police couldn't handle this.
Yeah, I convened a meeting on Saturday. I mean, during the week, I have to say, like, the police chief does not report operations to us. And obviously, you don't give your playbook to anyone else. I have to say, I kind of expected that there might have been more happen to move them out midweek when the numbers were lower. On Saturday, when they were bolstering the numbers again, I called a special meeting of the Police Services Board. And I did that to ask the chief basically one simple question in keeping with the mandate of the Ottawa Police Services Board, which is to provide adequate and effective policing in the City of Ottawa. And I asked him, did he have the resources that he needed to meet that mandate and to put down this insurrection? And his answer was no. And his answer was he needed a lot more resources. And so from that point, my job and the mayor's job have been to get a list of all of the resources that he needs and to make requests to the upper tier governments to provide us with the resources that we're going to need to end this occupation of our city.
I just spoke to NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who was highly critical of the federal government for hiding, in his view, behind jurisdictional deniability for not stepping in. And we've heard a bit of a jurisdictional argument coming out of Queen's Park as well. Are you satisfied with the level of engagement and the level of support from the provincial governments and the federal governments on the situation in downtown Ottawa?
I mean, what is abundantly clear to me, David, is that we need everyone working together. We need all hands on deck now. We need the upper tier governments to give us all of the resources that we are asking for and to fully employ them as quickly as possible. That's what we need from the federal governments.
We learned today that a court has granted an injunction to stop the incessant horn blowing in the downtown. The city streets are a lot quieter as a result. Why did it take a 21-year-old private citizen and a private lawyer to take that action? Why did the city not seek legal action or seek legal remedy to take this sort of action to make things a bit better for the people in the downtown core?
Yeah, I had asked our legal department that last week on several occasions. I was actually expecting them to file an injunction. I know that they were working on that. They were looking at the breadth of an injunction, what would be the most useful, making sure that whatever they filed, a judge would approve, because obviously if they didn't approve it, that would be worse for us, not better. But why they ultimately have not done that, or frankly, David, use some of the sections that already exist in the Criminal Code of Canada, is something also that I think we will definitely be looking for answers to in the weeks ahead.
So here we are now on day 11, and you've made this rather significant request of the federal and provincial governments for 1,800 police officers. Is there any way the city can handle this if you don't get all of those or most of those assets, those policing reinforcements that you've asked for?
We've heard from the chief of police that the answer to that is simply no. I can tell you, David, that my heart goes out to the people in this city. They are tired, they are angry, they are afraid, they are frustrated. They have been subjected to more than any community ever should be subjected to, and they want this to end. And so my plea to the federal and provincial governments is do everything you can to help us right now. You can talk about the dollars and cents later, but we need your help now. We all need to work together. This is not something this country has ever seen before. I understand Mark Carney referred to it as sedition today. I think that's exactly what it is. This is treason. This is way bigger. This is a group of well-polished professional people that are trying to overthrow the government of democratically elected government of this country. This is not about people at this point that have a beef with the federal government about vaccine mandates or border policies. This is way bigger than this. I believe that this has been planned much longer, and we need a lot more help.
Well, no, this was published on Canada Unity, one of the groups that's part of this. It's been on their website since October. They were planning to attempt this in December, so it has been out there. And I guess I want to go back to the policing issue, Councillor. There's a lot of anger in this city over the way the Ottawa police have handled this, the way that they've allowed these hundreds of trucks to occupy the downtown core. Given that you have to ask for such extreme levels of outside help, do you still have confidence in Chief Slowly to lead the city out of this?
I have confidence that we need to do everything that we can right now with the people that we have in place. We need to consider at the end of all of this what happened, why we didn't know more about it, what decisions were made, what decisions have to change. Because, David, I really think this is the beginning of something new in this country, not the end of it. There will be time for postmortem, for considering what went right and what went wrong, and we will do that, but not in the middle of trying to put down this insurrection.
Okay. Councillor Deans, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Have a good night, David.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.